Hello, everyone, and welcome to what I know will be a very fun and very important conversation. We're going to focus our topic today on Kickstarter and the process of building a business through its resources. Joining us today is Tom Gearhart and Dan Provost of Studio Neat to share their experiences and process of designing and building super cool and super useful products. And today's a big day for these guys because they just launched another campaign. Hopefully we'll get people to go to it. So guys, great to be with you.
Thanks for having us.
So, hey, I know you have a great life and you design it, and that's what I want to start with because I know it's by design and you both prefer to live a very lean and very simple life but still build a really sustainable business for yourself. Just talk about that a little bit because I know it's very strategic.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah, hey, let me interrupt you for a second because we'll have a quiz at the end of this. We're going to tell the difference between who Dan is and who Tom is. Okay, so I won't tell you who this is.
All right, yeah. So I shouldn't reveal who's speaking right now?
Don't reveal, but I know.
It's a secret. So yeah, it's just, that's a good question. I would say personally, early on, I was really influenced by 37 Signals and a lot of their writing and just their approach to being thoughtful about work and not letting it overrun your life and kind of having a healthy balance and, ways to run a business that allow for those sorts of things. So I think the two of us just privileged that really early on. So that was part of it. And then the other part is just this quest for a simplicity that is kind of, a thread line throughout all of our products and then also our business as well. So, we try to make simple products, but we're also trying to have a simple business that we're able to manage and have a good, work-life balance.
Well, and we'll get to Kickstarter in a moment, but when you guys realized that after the first day of your first campaign that you had a business and business that could really evolve, how did that influence your thinking?
Well, not a ton. Especially early on, we were so just focused on getting the product out the door and getting it to backers. That was our main focus. But I think what we think about a lot and what I guess how it changed in the beginning was, now that there's a company, it almost feels like there's a place to kind of brand what we're doing and kind of brand ourselves a little bit. And I think that's somewhat of a positive thing because we can be, like Dan said, really thoughtful about how we're talking about ourselves and the company and the branding. And so I guess having a company for us really immediately made us, be really thoughtful about how we're putting ourselves out there in the world. Because, even if you don't put a lot of energy into branding or whatever, or marketing, you're doing it, right? Just by existing, just by having a website, just by having a name. And so I guess it just made everything kind of more real and it upped the stakes when it came to a lot of the communication we did and the products we make, because there's kind of a brand now.
So you screwed everything up, Tom, because you mentioned Dan's name, so obviously the secret's out. But I want to talk about lean for a second. Lean means speed, obviously, especially when orders start pouring in. And I want to ask you guys a question, because I know you have a very strategic vision on the design of these products. So when you guys started getting all of these orders, did you focus on creating an MVP-type prototype, or did you stick with the original design?
For the original Glyph, we stuck very closely to the design. I think we just tweaked some minor dimensions on it, but yeah, more or less, what we presented was what we delivered to the backers. So yeah, that stayed pretty true.
The manufacturing process changed slightly in a real technical way. At first we were going to try to do this rapid injection molding. But when the scale kind of increased or was more than we thought it was going to be, we kind of moved into the real world of real, like, full-scale manufacturing. So that was a little adjustment, but it was basically the same.
Tom, and then what did you guys do to keep your customers in the loop? I've been involved in lots of Kickstarter campaigns. Some are a lot better than others when it comes to keeping customers engaged.
Yeah, we always love making little videos. So those are kind of the, I guess, centerpieces of, and like the kind of main way we keep people updated. I mean, we try to stick to about a weekly, bi-weekly update schedule for any kind of Kickstarter campaign we do. But we love to kind of produce these little videos. It's either like a making of video or some other, assembly process video that kind of just shows, behind the curtain what's going on. And we think, not only is it interesting for people, but it really helps us communicate, where we are in the process. If there's any, problems or wins, it's a really good time to kind of communicate that. So video is always kind of our go-to.
And you guys are really good at that. Do you have a process, like when you set out to create the video for the product that we'll talk about today, for the campaign that kicked off today, you don't just hit record and record. You have an idea of what you want to convey. Give me a sense of that.
Yeah, so it's a pretty standard process. Basically, we'll write out a script of the dialogue, the voiceover and the points we want to hit, and we kind of pass that back and forth and make adjustments. And then from there, I'll do an incredibly crude storyboard, stick figures basically, just to start to create a shot list of what we need. And then from there, we just kind of wing it. We have all the shots we need and what we need to say, and we just get together and do it. And it's not it's not set in stone. We'll kind of mix things up if we have ideas for better shots or things we want to add. But yeah, it's a pretty standard way to make a video.
And we talked about this the first time we spoke, and we talked about it offline. It was that level of engagement, I think, that turned the original customers of that first product into repeat buyers. Not a whole lot of people experience that because, people just go into, hey, I'm in this campaign, but you guys have built a brand online of this. So not only do you get a greater share of your customer, now you have customers, you're building a customer community just like any big business is.
Yeah, that's really what we love to do. We kind of we don't really think of them as customers, but more as like, people we just want to make happy and that are hopefully our fans, right? So it really is about that relationship. And one of the things, or one of the reasons why we like to stay small is so that we can stay really personal. So we love that we can just say, me and Dan, or Dan and I, made this decision, or we made this new thing, because we hope that really translates to, the people that are hopefully have become our fans or new customers, that, it's just kind of two guys trying to make some stuff that you hopefully love, bring some delight into your life. So being able to, kind of honestly say we're small and that we, had this idea for this reason and we're making it for this reason, really kind of helps us out in that department.
All right, one more question, and I want to get into kind of the process of Kickstarter. You guys elected to follow the Zappos model and skip retail. It's obviously paid off really well. It's got to be exciting as you see what's happening with you in the future. What are you learning about that process?
Yeah, we were initially, when we just had one product with the glyph, we were kind of scared away from retail a little bit at the beginning. We heard all these horror stories of what the margins are like and these kind of consignment agreements that are not favorable to the designers or what have you. And so we were just fortunate in that we had a product that was perfectly suited, A, to be something that is shipped in the mail and inexpensive to do so, and B, it kind of catered to an audience that was already totally comfortable buying things online. These are iPhone owners that are, kind of tech geeks in a way. So it was just a perfect fit. And we've just kind of kept doing that. Our audience has kind of grown and changed, but it's stayed the same in a lot of ways. And so we're not outright opposed to retail, but like you said, it's been working so well, just online only, that we've just done that. But, with these new kind of cocktail products, we're kind of taking that as an opportunity to maybe explore the physical retail space a little and see if there's anything there for us. So we'll see what happens.
Describe your fulfillment process, Dan, because I know that that's a piece. Without that, nothing matters.
Sure. So we outsource the order fulfillment. Currently, we're using a company called Shipwire, and this is a company we heard about. Actually, Patrick from Dodo Case was the one that told us about it. And we were initially thinking with our first project, the Glyph, that we could, just fulfill all the orders ourselves. And then once after the first day when it kind of exploded, we knew that wasn't going to be an option. So we had to find a solution that wasn't us just for months on end stuffing envelopes. So we chose Shipwire, and they were really great at basically telling us what to do in terms of like, this is a SKU, you need to have it, and all these kind of obvious things in hindsight. They kind of coached us through it. And so that was crucial. So we had a system set up from day one that was totally scalable. So if like 10,000 people decided to order something tomorrow, that wouldn't be a problem for us because the infrastructure is already there.
And the manufacturer has to be there too.
Right. Correct.
All right. I want to turn to Kickstarter in a minute. Tom, when you guys started your first campaign, right? If you remember the Griff, the first time that you guys were going to do it, what were you expecting going in, honestly?
I think we were expecting we would meet our goal, which would mean, or not expecting, we were hoping we'd meet our goal, which would mean, I don't know, we would sell like 500 of these things or something. And really, we kind of needed to get that number to kind of get it produced. So our hope was just, maybe we could sell 500 of these things and we could kind of get it rolling and just see what happens. We weren't thinking, this will start our business, or this will, 5 years from now we'll still be selling this product by any means. So very low expectations, and I think it's because no one had really kind of launched a product on Kickstarter, especially at that scale. And so we really had no reason to think that it would blow up, right? So it was really focused on just the really near-term goal of, getting this thing out into the world in kind of the little way we could.
And now, years later, what did you do today that you didn't do when you first started? This is your fourth campaign?
Fifth, actually.
Fifth campaign.
Yeah. What did we do differently? Well, one of the things I think obviously we have in our favor is we're like a known entity. So, it's a lot easier for us to reach out to more people. So that was a big change. So, one of the things we did is we emailed kind of our big list of our big newsletter, just saying, hey, we made a new thing. Check it out. So we didn't have that the first time. I think the first time we just emailed a couple friends, basically, and then reached out to a couple press people directly. But kind of the same thing. Sent out a outbound marketing email that was very honest and straightforward and not gimmicky. Just really presenting the product as best we could and as honestly we could. So we did that. I think this time we definitely set goals in terms of funding, like the funding level and the time frame that we would be done with the campaign, much more wisely, because we know that it's very expensive to ship and fulfill these things, as well as it takes way longer than we thought. So with the first Glyph campaign, we got really lucky. We ended up fulfilling the Glyph to all the backers in like just 2 or 3 months. But that was, definitely not the norm. That is not the norm. And so now, for instance, on this product, we set, the kind of fulfillment expected date in March, right? Which I think if we didn't know better, we easily could have set it earlier, just thinking, everything will go well. But so I think it's really just a mix of knowing all the things that can go wrong and then kind of planning for them in a subtle way. But honestly, really what we just try to do when we launch a Kickstarter project is really focus on the product, try to convey it like honestly and in like a exciting, nice way, and just let people decide if they want to back it or not. So that process of I guess outbound marketing is pretty much the same, and we have more reach, but it's kind of the same attitude.
Well, but you also built a community. And Dan, when you look at other successful Kickstarter campaigns that you guys have observed, do you see some commonalities on the ones that really succeed or maybe succeed wildly and the ones that maybe have a hard time getting any traction?
Sure. I mean, there's just top level things like the obvious one. It's a good or interesting product. But I think more importantly, it's just about the communication. It's like they're honest in their approach to how they're communicating about it. And you can see the passion for what they're working on and what their product is. And so things like that are pretty common across successful projects. But other than kind of top level things like that, there's such a wide variety of things that have succeeded that it's kind of hard to get any more specific than that.
It seems like when people talk about Kickstarter or Indiegogo or a lot of these crowdfunding campaigns, they really have some misconceptions going in about, one, either how easy it is, or number two, how challenging it is. And there's somewhere in the middle, there's an opportunity. What would you say is the biggest misconception about these crowdfunding campaigns?
I would say that, as long as you get your project on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, then it's, going to be successful and you're going to be a millionaire, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's...
Well, you guys are that.
That's right.
To be like
billions
that.
of dollars.
Yeah.
So, I think people think that these kind of platforms do the marketing for you and do the communication for you. And really all they do is kind of provide the plumbing, right? The utilities for your campaign or for your project, right? So I think people think there's a lot more in the marketing of it, and they don't plan for that. So that's a big one. And then the thing that everyone always underestimates is just how hard it is to actually fulfill and do all the work after the campaign. And I'm not even talking about, making a product or making an album, but actually just getting whatever you have made or the rewards to your backers. That's something you can't plan for enough. And there's, it just takes a lot of time, energy, and money.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a business first and foremost. I just got a couple more questions for you guys. And when I take a look at the evolution of the products that you guys are building, as we talked about earlier, you're building a business, right? It's a business that you guys are very deliberate in keeping it lean and in keeping it the way that you guys want. Talk to me about your marketing philosophy, because at some point that brand is going to be equated to something. What is that something, and how are you guys building that? Because we met through Michael. Michael said, "Hey, these are the godfathers of Kickstarter. So if you don't do that, somebody else is going to do it for you."
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's kind of there's several facets to it. So one of them is kind of, as you mentioned, just this open sharing policy where we want to help others, that are coming after us in the same way that others have kind of helped us and let us stand on their shoulders a little bit. So, we write blog posts that reveal, the services we use and how we did this and the problems we ran into. And then, we actually, a couple of years ago, we wrote a book that basically just outlined how we run our Kickstarter campaigns and how we do the manufacturing and how we do our marketing and all these things, and just being completely open and honest, is, again, it's part of our brand, but it's really just part of this culture of this kind of, indie entrepreneurship or whatever you want to call it, where it's not a zero-sum game and everyone is kind of in it together and looking to help one another. So that's definitely a big part of it. And then there's just other things like there's the free marketing stuff where we follow blogs and are kind of know the right people to send our stuff to if we think they might be interested in it. So that's just, that's certainly part of it. And then we do some, infrequently we'll do like podcast sponsorships and things like that. And that again is just like, people we like and we want to support them and what they're doing by sponsoring. And they're obviously helping us with the sponsorship as well. So just simple things like that. But yeah, that's like generally it. And then a lot of it is just, kind of playing it by ear and experimenting with things.
All right. Well, before I ask you my last question, here's something I want to say. Your example, what it does that maybe sometimes I don't think you realize is you give hope to a lot of people who've got ideas, right? You give hope to the people to the person who's got an idea and said, oh my God, but how do I manufacture it? Well, you help them with that. Well, how the heck am I going to fulfill? Well, you help them with that too. What if I get a big order? Well, you just mentioned right off the bat, you guys could have had 10,000 orders fulfilled right off the bat. So I think your example does a lot more to say, hey, to that person who's got an idea, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, I think, what we've noticed in talking to people is a lot of people seem to be hung up on this kind of fear and, overwhelmed. Everything seems so overwhelming. There's so many decisions to make. When really, it's not that it's easy, but we're just in a new situation where it is now like some possible. And so that's, I think, when we talk, when we give talks or we write blog posts, I think our main attitude is about convincing someone that, hey, first of all, this is possible. And it's not that complex if you kind of break down the kind of areas. So, we're just continually excited that this is the world we live in and that, we get to do what we do. And we love convincing other people that they can do it too.
And I love what you stand for. I'm going to give you just one more example and shut my mouth, I promise. I was just asked to attend an event at Whole Foods where they bring in their distributors or I guess regional managers, and they talk to local producers on how to get products into the store. And while the 15 or 20 people who were sitting there seemed to have really great products, there was tremendous fear in, well, how do I get it manufactured and how do I get that step approved, which is exactly the door that you guys open when sharing your example.
Well, good. That's what we hope.
All right. So I want each of you to finish these 2 sentences for me and then we'll be done. The first one is, you'll know that you've built a great product when?
Dan, you go first.
That's a tough one. I mean, I would say for us, we know when we've built a good product when it satisfies both of us. It's kind of, the launching the submarine, we both have to turn the key at the same time. If we design something and we're both satisfied with it, then we have a suspicion that other people will be satisfied with it too.
Yeah, I would say mine's basically the exact same answer. I know that I'm satisfied with something we make if I end up using it after we've made it. Like, that's the proof.
No wonder your partner's okay. Your Kickstarter campaign would be more awesome if you? Other than connecting with you guys, something else.
Yeah. It would be more awesome if LeVar Burton was in our video. I don't know.
I think the Kickstarter campaign is always going to be better, and ours would be better if the videos are funny. I think that's basically it. I think if ours were more funny, it did do better.
Well, hey, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. So let's end with this. Give a plug for how people can find your products and talk about your new campaign.
Sure. So the easiest way is to just go to studioneat.com. We're also at Studio Neat on Twitter. And we just this morning launched a new Kickstarter project. So if you go to kickstarter.com and search for Simple Syrup Kit, you will find it. And hopefully you'll be interested in it, and then you can back it.
And who doesn't drink cocktails? So, hey, guys, more to come. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.